For this episode, we want to give a shout out to Ben with Creefall Bagel Company. Creefall Bagel Company is boiling and baking fresh sourdough bagels every morning. They're located in Creefall at 4825 Trousdale Drive, Suite 228. Go check them out. Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. For this episode, we have on musician Alex Hall. We talk about kids repeating everything you say, touring as a dad, his son watching him play on stage, and the backstory of his song, Dad Now. We hope you enjoy. Normally, Justin and I co-host this, but his season is starting to ramp up like crazy. So he was kind of like, would love to be on the call. I got to take care of like 30 things
all
suddenly
good.
I didn't expect.
I totally get that and respect it. Yeah, it's all good, man.
Cool.
It's all good. We'll just have fun without him.
That's right. First question I have for you. So this past Saturday, you went and did the guitar riff for the Nashville SC game. And Did you also go and sing the national anthem at a Sacramento Kings game?
Yes. I don't even know what day it is right now. On Tuesday. Saturday was the soccer game, and then I was in Sacramento on Tuesday for that. Yeah.
And it's Friday. It's Friday. Weren't you also in Connecticut, like performing a show? Also,
I was in Connecticut. I was in Connecticut Wednesday and Thursday. Massachusetts Friday. Back in Connecticut Saturday to fly to Nashville, and went from the airport straight to the soccer stadium.
Dude.
And then did Easter. Yeah. I had meetings all day Monday, and then I flew to Sacramento on Tuesday, and I got back last night.
How's your internal clock right now?
Internally terrible. I've got a watch on, thankfully, which I always do. And so externally, fantastic. Internally, a complete disaster.
Internally, but no one knows. Yep.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. Throw a hat on, get your watch set into the right time zone, and you're good to go.
That's right. It's actually the perfect segue to fatherhood of just every day you're like, did I sleep? Do I know what time it is? Man. I don't know. I'm just going to try to be nice to people around me, and we'll see what happens.
Right. It's funny, man. I've got a few. My bass player, they just had their first little one a little after us. Our son is 2.5, and then I think theirs is just turned 2 maybe, or just turned 1. I can't remember. But we were talking about it, and it was like, on that note, it was like, it's funny how all of these years of touring and doing all of these sleepless, crazy time travel things have truly prepared you for at least the best that they can for the sleeplessness of parenthood. Yep. It still doesn't make delusion not delusional, but at least you've just gotten used to surviving with a little bit of it, through the years.
Pretty much.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You said your son is 2.5. I have a son who's 2.5 also.
Cool.
What month was he born in?
September.
Oh, yes. My son is also September of 21.
No kidding.
Yeah.
September 4th?
September 2nd.
Man, that's wild. His due date originally was the 1st. So
are you serious?
It was originally the 1st, and then my wife got induced.
Yeah.
And so the 4th. That's crazy. So they're 2 days apart. That's wild, man.
My his birthday was actually supposed to be in August, and he was 10 days late. So
nice.
Yeah, so we weren't even supposed to have a September baby. The best detail is my wife did his baby blanket and had actually stitched like August 2021 on it. Man, and now I feel like we can't actually go back and restitch it because it's just so funny.
It'd be like, you're just going to be late the rest of your life, and here's a great... It is,
yes. Or if he's like, when was I born? And we're like, September, but you weren't supposed to be born in September.
Yeah, that's amazing. Isn't that funny how that... Because is that your all's first kid, or do you have... Third. Okay, so you're experienced. You're
well, I'm overconfident. I would never say experienced. I would say I'm overconfident.
That's fair.
About all
That's
things.
Fair. That's awesome.
So
September, man, it's a good one. We're in conversations about trying to plan for the next one, and we were not planning for Preston. Yeah. He came, on his own, and so it's just different because now we're like, okay, well, when do we want to try and get the birthday? Be precise about it, which is a lot. Weirdly, a little more stressful, I think, than just being like, oh, okay, we're gonna have a baby. Like it's Pretty much. Which is very much stressful too, but it's just funny. It's different seasons.
I have friends who are teachers, and they would be like, okay, cool. How do we make sure we get pregnant in a way in which we give birth late May, early June, so that the teachers are off work, so they don't have to worry about like paternity or maternity leave. And like, it's a very different energy. Like, I'm sure you're trying to figure out like, all right, I tour mostly during the summer. Let's not have a kid in the middle of the summer, but also it's kind of a miracle you get pregnant at all. So
absolutely, for sure. It's definitely a luxury if that all comes to play.
Absolutely, yes.
It's yeah, for sure. But it's fun, man. Being a parent's been the best ride so far that I think I could have experienced.
What since our sons are basically the same age, my son is in the phase right now where whatever I say he repeats, but whenever he says it, it's a heck of a lot cuter. So
absolutely.
He'll be like, we'll be driving around and he'll like do something like, oh Josh, that's so cute, and he'll go, so cute. And I'm like,
oh yeah, man.
But that's actually cute when you say that. It's kind of weird that I'm saying so cute every single
day. It is funny. It's like when you're a dad or a parent or whatever, it's like, yeah, there's certain things that you say that you would never say when you're not.
Nope.
But yeah, then they repeat it. He's definitely in the same phase of the repetition and all of that. And the one thing that's been driving my wife and I both crazy, which is just us, it clearly doesn't matter, but I don't even know where he got it, but he's gotten this thing where I'll be like, Preston, are you tired? Or I'll just say anything and he'll be like, huh? And he does it on purpose. Like he knows.
Oh, yes.
And it's like, just tell me, I know, you know, and then he'll laugh about it. And that's the thing where it's like, that's really where he's poking us the most right now. It's with that.
They learn how to play games at some point. And I feel like around 2.5 is whenever they learn how to play games and start to mess with you. And you want to encourage it because it's actually really funny.
For sure. Absolutely.
But also at the same time, you know, I said your name.
So. Absolutely. It's a fine line. And it's like, it's only funny for a certain amount of time. But then also it's like, it's only funny too, when it's in a scenario where like you're not in public trying to actually get them to do something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that's, if you're at home and they're, you know, it is what it is, but yeah, it's that's kind of where we're at right now with that phase.
Yes.
But definitely hit neck deep in the repetition and all that, which is also, I unfortunately don't have the cleanest mouth all the time, and so I've really got to work and am working on that, especially at home. I'm just trying to watch that.
This is one of my favorite questions to ask parents: is what do you have your go-to replacement curse word yet?
I definitely like shoot.
Shoot!
Yeah. There's one that I do say occasionally that I'm trying to think what is it? Because I said it the other day and he actually did literally repeat me, and I'm like, well, I'm glad I said that. I can't remember what it is right now, but if I think of it, I'll let you know. But shoot's definitely probably the one that I say the most. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have one for yourself? Or?
No, I feel like I just do loud sound effects. Realistically,
oh yeah,
you know, like you stub your toe and you're like,
Yep. Yeah, that's fair. I definitely do those. Definitely do those. Our bed is notorious for grabbing the toe, so that's fair. What is? Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts.
You'll think of it later.
I'll think of it. There's one that I know that I use often, and I can't think of it right now.
I'm a big fan of like the structure of son of a, and then filling in the gap with whatever is near you. It's like, son of a guitar player, you know, like
see,
as if it's like suddenly, because like as an adult, I think it's funny to like deconstruct the thought of like, is that a bad thing to be a son of a because like you're not saying it with a positive connotation, but suddenly
that's fair.
You're now here doing this, so. I
haven't thought about that. That's funny.
The amount of jokes and things you say more to make yourself laugh than your kid whenever you're a dad is also kind of funny to pay attention to. So
do you have 3? So is it the youngest one's a boy? Are they
I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old who are both girls and they're like in second grade and kindergarten. And then Josh is 2.5. So
that's amazing.
He was a definite, it's the pandemic. My wife and I finally actually slowed down enough to be like, do we want a third kid? And we were like, sure. Let's see what happens.
Awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Yep.
And you guys, obviously, I'm assuming, are in Nashville. The title and all that. Are
you
from here? Or?
No, I'm originally from Southern Indiana.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I went to Belmont, and that's how I ended up down here.
Yeah.
And we live just a little bit north of the zoo. So we're like between the zoo and the Adventure Science Center. So
that's awesome.
I'm a stay-at-home dad. So pretty
Very
much.
Nice.
My wife works from home. I go out and do, like this morning, Josh and I went to the library downtown, hit up Joyland for some lunch, and then came home. He's currently asleep on the monitor.
Man, I love it. That's incredible.
And then like around 3-ish, if he's still asleep, I'll pass the monitor off to my wife, go pick up the girls from school and come back home. So
that's fantastic, man. That's awesome.
It's a very lucky life. I'm not going to act like it
That's
isn't.
amazing.
Yeah.
I definitely, when I'm not writing and touring, feel this. Preston goes to preschool.
Yeah.
So he goes there because I am not here, but my wife also works from home and
cool.
And such. But when I'm home, I definitely am doing those things, and it's great. I love it. It's a blast. We go to the zoo a good bit actually near you guys.
Cool.
We were there a few weeks ago, and it was he loves it.
Yes. What area of town do you guys live in?
We actually live about 30 minutes north of Nashville. So
cool.
We live just outside of town. Yeah. So my wife grew up in Madison actually. So she's from here.
Nice.
And everything. But yeah, we live about 30 minutes north of town and bought a house out here during the pandemic. And
yeah. So have you been in Nashville for like 3 or 4 years then?
No, I've lived in Nashville for 10 years, actually.
Oh, cool.
I moved here right after high school. I was already making trips back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm from Georgia originally.
Cool.
And I was making trips back and forth in high school. I was already playing shows and touring and stuff all through high school. And so I already had a booking agent that was in Nashville, and
cool.
I started meeting with some publishers and stuff. So I just moved here right after I graduated high school and signed a publishing deal not long after that, and started getting paid to write songs full time, and
ain't bad.
Been here ever since.
Nice.
You know? Yeah.
So if you had your son in September of 21, when did you start going like back out on tour and playing gigs? Because I know that whole
it was that year
shut down. Okay, cool.
Yep, it was that year. We got married in 2020, which was a blast. Navigating those waters.
Was it first half of 2020 or second half of 2020?
Second half. Unfortunately, it was a crazy time. I mean, I think we planned our wedding probably 3 or 4 different times, and then it just kept getting cut and all of the above. And so we finally just eloped. It was in November of 2020, and so I was set to do, because I just had signed my record deal with Sony in 2019, and so I was set to go to radio tour and go to country radio with my first single, and had the entire year full of shows and tours. Like it was the busiest year of my entire life, and then obviously got shut down. And so we got married, we eloped, we went to California and just eloped because our wedding had gotten down to being able to have like 10 people there in a backyard basically. And so we just went to California with my wife and I, and we eloped. And then the next month we got pregnant and found out in January, January 8th to be exact, and that we were going to have a baby.
Yeah.
And so touring kind of started. The first show back, I believe, was actually June. It was my wife's birthday. I think it was June 5th. And it was a festival down in Florida. And so that's kind of when it all started. And so I was gone a lot, for the first year, I would say, of his life. And we were making up festival dates basically through the summer of that year when he was born. And I had September blocked because I was like, I clearly know that's when he's coming. And so I blocked my calendar for the month, which was great. And I had my last show was all the way up until like the week of his due date. And I was so terrified because I think, if I remember correctly, it was in like Montana, or it was somewhere not easy to get back. I was so scared, but we made it, and it was great. So I was on tour quite a bit through that whole time period. Yeah. Which was fine. It was great.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I think whenever our first kid was born, my wife had a trip in. My first daughter's birthday is in February, and she had like one last work trip in January. And the entire time I was like, if your water breaks while you're in New Orleans, how do I fly down? Do I like what like?
And that's like an 8 hour. I think it's like an 8 hour drive.
It's an 8 to 9 hour drive. Yeah. Or I hope that like. What are our priorities wrong, or is this just the reality of life? Which one is it?
I know, it's crazy, man. It's like, it's such a weird thing. And that's even different because like, at least in my situation, my wife was home still. That would, oh man, it's such a scary thing. Cause like there's truly in that scenario, there's nothing you can do. Really.
Nothing whatsoever.
I mean, which is, thankfully, clearly it worked out for both of us.
Yes. We're both there for the birth.
It's scary, man. It's scary. It's like, cause you just, you obviously just want to be there, and God forbid that you're not. But, we made it through.
Cool.
And then back to touring in October that year. So,
oh man, yeah.
Yeah. So I took September off and then was gone. I missed his first birthday too. I was in Europe on a tour,
yeah,
which was rough. But like it was the whole thing. So yeah. So the first year of life, I was gone a lot.
That's
but he doesn't remember it. So
yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah, it is. Did you FaceTime a lot? What did you do to still feel connected to your wife and son during that year?
Lots of FaceTime. Still do. Like I would say that's still primarily what keeps me held together when I'm not here, because I mean, my wife travels a little bit for work, but not clearly as much as I do. And it definitely is hard. But during that time, it was weird because again, like he doesn't know, like he was so young still that like he wasn't even really talking or anything obviously yet. So it was mainly just so I could see him. And then especially in Europe when I was there, that was like 7 or 8 hours time difference. So like that was always really challenging, and I was on a tour bus. And so like, that was all just, that was challenging, and I was gone for 3 weeks. And so that was a tough one. But when I'm touring primarily though, I always try to FaceTime before bedtime if I can, every night. And if I have gotten enough sleep, I'll try and grab it in the morning too. But if not, I'll let it go sometimes. But
well, I mean, like, are you headlining your tour right now, or are you like an opener?
I'm an opener right now for the most part. I'm an opener for the most part. So which leaves a lot of flexibility sometimes, but then also you're at the mercy of other people's schedules for a lot of times too. And so that can be a challenge. But you know, we've made it work, and my wife is incredibly supportive with all of it too, and obviously wants me to succeed in it. And so she's great with it too. And her family's here as well, so they're able to help when we need it. But FaceTime is definitely the best, and he's getting to where he actually enjoys, like he wants to do it. Last week I was gone for a couple of days, and he was like asking to call and see, which was great and stuff. That's awesome. So yeah.
Do you have any desire to like, around 5 he'll start school and stuff. Do you have any desire for him to come on tour with you, or bring him and your wife on tour with you? Or is it kind of like, oh, that's a little, it gets really messy the more people you add to traveling. So
for sure. I mean, ideally I want them to come travel with me when it makes sense. But I don't think we're not planning to do like homeschooling or any of that kind of stuff.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, knock on some wood, our career will go according to plan and all of the above. I just want him to have as normal of a life as he possibly can, and just to enjoy being a kid. I traveled a lot of my childhood. I barrel raced and rodeoed a lot of my youth, and then so that made me travel on the like Thursday through Sundays a lot when I was a kid. And then when I was 15, I started playing in bars and playing shows and stuff, and so that kept me gone a lot too. So like I didn't enjoy certain periods of being a kid, and so I definitely, I want to encourage him to do whatever he wants to do. But as far as school goes and all that, like absolutely want them to come with me as much as they can. But definitely planning on him going to regular school and all that. Yeah.
I think it's really interesting when you have a kid, because it makes you reanalyze your childhood in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And things you didn't expect to be protective of, you're suddenly protective of. Like routine, schedule, all that stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. You definitely do start looking back at your childhood, good and bad.
Yep.
And see all of that. And I mean, it's funny, man. It's like again, we're 2.5 years into being parents, so I'm still learning so much. But I definitely think that if you are I'm trying to think of the right word for it. If you are self-aware enough to like really go back and digest it, I feel like it's one of the healthiest things to do as a parent, because you are able to like deter out of things that even just are genetically ingrained in you to be that way. Whether that's a lot of different things, but
we both are not trained therapists and psychologists, so we can only discuss so much.
Exactly. I missed my bar by just a little bit. Maybe another life. Maybe
you took the licensing test, but just haven't passed it yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting for it to come in the mail.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I think there's a lot of moments of that's my hope for like every parent, is the ability to have some quiet moments, which are pretty hard to find, in which you can look up and like just be aware of what you're doing as a parent, and then be like, if I was a child how would I feel in this scenario? Like whenever I was a kid, how would I have experienced this? And just being in tune with your inner child, I think makes everyone a little bit happier and better, but it's also very difficult.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is. I think it's probably one of the most difficult things in the world to do because it's like you have to be present. You have to be all of these things. But I totally agree. It's like whenever you are able to capture those little moments when it does happen, it is truly, it's the greatest.
Yeah.
For yourself and for your kids.
Pretty much. Yep.
And your significant other. I mean, all of the above. It's literally a perfect storm when it does come in that way.
Yeah, it is. Back to the Nashville SC thing. Did your son come with you to that game? Did I see that online that your son was able to come to it? That's really cool.
Yes,
how was that experience?
He was so excited. I had told him before I left that when I got back, he loves to come to the airport to pick me up and stuff. And we were flying in and out. And so I was like, look, when I come back, you're going to come to the airport and we're going to go to the soccer game. And he was so excited about it. And so it was great. Like he got to walk in underneath the stadium through the tunnels really and do all the things. And he's gotten to do some really cool stuff as a kid. And he didn't understand why he couldn't go on the field, though. That was the biggest thing. He thought we were going there to play soccer. But once he, got into it, because they do I don't know. I had never been to one of the games there before. And it was just a blast. It was so much fun. But like they do the fireworks and it's such a big thing.
It's a production.
It's a huge production and he loved it. I mean, if I would not have been so exhausted, my wife she had been taking care of him for like 5 days straight. And we were so tired. So we left a little early. But he was having so much fun and loved it. And they let us, they put us up in the executive suite or whatever. Nice, and so we had great seats and he just had so much fun, man. He got a little soccer ball and he had a blast. So he really enjoyed it. And he thinks it's the coolest thing getting to see me on the Jumbotrons and all that.
Yeah, of course, because it is.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. The funny thing about it, though, is anytime he sees me in that capacity or he hears them announce me or whatever, he'll start saying Alex. And so he'll start completely addressing me or even to he's like, is that Alex? Is that Alex? And so I'm no longer Dada when I'm like performing, I guess. I'm just
That's
Alex.
Awesome.
I'm Alex Hall at that point. Yeah.
Well, so it doesn't say Dada Hall above your name.
Doesn't say Dada
on the marquee.
Hall. No.
So
no, although it's got a nice ring to it, But
when you decide to write your own kids album, do you now have your moniker?
That's funny.
There you go.
Yeah. He had a blast though, man. I mean, he's been able to do. I mean, I made my Grand Ole Opry debut when my wife was 8 months pregnant. I want to say 7 or 8 months pregnant. Yeah. And then I went back and he was there like at 2 months old. Like he literally had a photo of me like setting him down in the circle on the Opry stage at 2 months old. And so he's been there every time I played. Like he's been able to do so many cool things that I would have never even dreamt of as a kid, thinking of doing. And it's pretty special. It makes all of the sleeplessness and stuff worth it. Just being able to let him experience stuff like that.
Where'd you grow up at in Georgia? Was it kind of like a very rural area that you grew up in, or was it more like
Kansas
City? Okay.
I grew up in Gainesville, Georgia, and it was really like on the outskirts of Gainesville because it's actually a fairly large city now, more so than even when I lived there. But it's like an hour north of Atlanta.
Okay.
And so I grew up on the outskirts there, just on a small little horse farm, and it was about 5 hours from Nashville.
Okay.
And
cool.
So it was great. I was born and raised the same house, and just grew up really, riding horses, and that was about it. That was really my childhood.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which was it was a blast. It was a great way to grow up. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you guys will? When do you buy your own house with horses? Is that in the future?
I hope so. That's definitely the goal. Nashville's making it harder and harder to do with the prices of real estate here.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit. But the plan is definitely. I would love to at least get some and put them somewhere, if nothing else. I definitely plan on having them. I just think it was a great way to grow up, and I have a song on my record called "Women and Horses" that I wrote about that and my mom and my sister and all that, and growing up in that way of living. And I don't believe I would be who I am without any of it. So I definitely want to impact him with that same stuff.
Do you feel like being a father, I know on your album you have at least one song about being a dad, and your son talks on the end of it. Do you feel like being a father has affected your songwriting or has started to influence your songwriting yet?
I think so. I mean, it just in general, I think it changes your life in a huge way. So I think the things and the topics that I write about, just inevitably it seeps into a lot more. that song on the record was like, I think it was the last song that I finished for the album actually, which is ironically it ended the record. But and my wife is actually playing the violin on there too.
Oh,
which
really?
is cool.
That's really cool.
It's just me, her, and him on the last track of the record,
That's
which
really
I think
sweet,
is pretty
man.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I've written some more since then about it. I don't know if it'll come out on the next round of music. I'm working on new music right now.
Cool.
But it definitely seeps in a lot more. And I think that just honestly, even things that I will and will not say, like I even as bad as as my mouth is sometimes, like just certain topics I feel like just change, and I don't know, I feel like becoming a parent just and obviously makes you grow up so much.
Yeah.
That the topics are just a little different, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's definitely enhanced it a little bit, and just just want to write songs he'll be proud of one day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I think you like have a kid. The way I've described it before is I feel like whenever your wife gets pregnant, you feel like you started to study for a test, and then you get to the exam day and you realize you studied the wrong subject the entire time. So you're sitting there and you're like, hey man, I studied for biology for like 9 months straight. And then you're like, so this is quantum physics. And you're like, there's not a lot of overlap there.
That is the greatest analogy I think I've heard for fatherhood or parenthood in general. But yeah, that is I might steal that, to be honest.
Please, if you do, just like give me some cred somewhere.
I'll give you some credit. You got it. That is a brilliant and perfect analogy of it. Yeah.
Because it basically, the other way I've described it before to people is that like you hold your kid and it basically shatters your identity, because you realize how many ways, like, not that you need to be better, but how many things you have to start taking a heck of a lot more seriously.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And you hold that kid and like, I mean, I think every dad describes like the first drive home from the hospital. And you're just like, when did everyone become the worst driver in the world? When did all these speed bumps get here? What is everything. Like, how is the city so poorly planned for a newborn? And then you're like, hey man, this is you growing up.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, man, it's so funny. It's like, I had started, not to get into all that, but like I had started going to therapy about a year and a half to 2 years before we got pregnant. And when we found out we were and I had taken a little break in between there. And when I found out we were pregnant, I started going back again, because I was just like, I just want to make sure I'm right and everything.
Of course.
And the most impactful thing that the guy told me, honestly, I think it was about 6 months or so before we had Preston, was that so many dads don't start preparing until the day, like the moment they see and hold their child for the first time. And that's when they're like, all right, I got to get my crap together. And he was like, the best advice I can give you as a parent is to start the moment you find out.
Yeah.
To start preparing then. And obviously I think once you have kids, it's different as well, because then you're already kind of submerged into it.
Yes.
But I totally, looking back now, I understand that more than I ever could have, because I definitely tried my best to prepare. Like you said, like you do things that you are told to do and all of the above, but there is nothing that can prepare you for the feeling of holding them for the first time.
Yep.
And then realizing once they kick you out of the hospital and you are heading home, that you're on your own.
Yep.
You have your family, you have clearly tons of support and all of around you, but like really you're on your own. And it's your job for the rest of your life to keep this little thing, happy, healthy, and alive.
Yep.
And it's like, that was the most surreal feeling I think that I have to this moment ever felt. It's just like, you're now responsible. And I grew up with animals. We have 2 dogs. Nothing compares to it. Nothing.
I also really think whenever someone is throwing a birthday party for their 1-year-old, everyone should just walk up to the parents and say, congratulations. Because like that kid's not going to remember the birthday. They won't remember the cake. They won't even eat the cake half the time. But that is more, I think the 1-year kid birthday is just to celebrate, like the parents like, hey, you guys have both seen some stuff in the past year. Can we celebrate you and tell you that we love your kid? Because that's basically what that party should be about.
Honestly, I love that too. I couldn't agree more with you. And as I left my wife alone here for his first birthday, no, I couldn't agree more with you, man. I think that it's like, also just like all of the risks that start getting eliminated when you get close to one is also just like, you can kind of take a breath and be like, there's still a lot to worry about, but like the big things are like in the rear view. And it's the first every phase, my wife and I talk about it often, and it's every phase we're always checking in and like, this is the best. Like, we love this phase. We love this phase. I think we both are in agreement that newborn phase, we would thankful that we had the experience and will continue to have, clearly, hopefully, if we're fortunate enough. That is, newborn phase is tough. It's the most beautiful thing in the world, but man, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is. I think well, also, like, I don't know. It's also hard to know how to, until you go through it, how to describe someone that, like, basically you and your wife's relationship changes drastically. Yeah. And then you are taking care of a newborn baby that has no predictability. And then you go spend a month together in which both of you are desperately needing help at all times and helping something at all times. And then it's like, so you just kind of take a breath every night and go, how can I be a little kinder tomorrow? Because I'm sure there are moments I reacted more emotionally than I should have. And I need to be, I think I'll also always tell people, like, for the first 6 months, supporting your wife, supporting your partner is how you support your kid. Because most of the time that kid is going to want your wife, your partner, and not you. Support your wife.
Absolutely.
That's what you do.
Man, I think that's amazing. And I agree. And it's also just like hormonally, the things that, again, neither of us knew. My wife didn't know, like neither of us, of just like the hormones that go up and down and all of the changes that, like, I mean, you're truly going through a chemical warfare inside of them. And nobody really told us about all of the things that go through that as well. And it's like, I think that's the best, the way you just said, that's the best way to do it. Cause it's, you were just there to support. That's it.
That's it. And have your ego take a back seat for a couple months. You'll be okay, man.
Yep. And guess what? We are. Here we are.
We're good. That's
2.5 years plus, 7 or 8 there on top of it,
Yeah. Tell me the backstory of the song "Dad Now." I mean, it seems like you basically were just like reflecting on the fact of, like, I'm a dad now. Oh, this is all the things I do as a dad now. Well, I guess I'm a dad now. So tell me about the process of writing the song and what it means to you.
Yeah. I'll give you a little backstory behind it. It'll get long-winded maybe for a second, but so I was writing that song with 2 friends of mine, Brandy Clark and Pete Good, who I produce those records with and stuff so far. And we were going in to write, and I knew that we were writing that song, and Pete had that title actually called "Dad Now" already. He had the idea and had saved it for me, and we had talked about wanting to write together, and the original thought, and we wrote it this way originally, was the first verse, because Pete had a few months before that, I believe, had just lost his dog, who he had for years, and him and his wife got together when their first kid was born, I believe.
Yeah.
And they had just lost it, and it was his first experience having to put down an animal as an adult and as a parent.
It sucks.
And I grew up having to deal with putting down animals and stuff on the farm and everything, but again, not as a parent.
Yeah.
So I still to this day can't fathom what that's going to be like when that time comes for us. But he was talking to us about it, and he had this idea, and he was like, man, it was the first time that I really realized, like, I am dad now. Like, I am now the person that my father was, that dealt with all of these hard things, like putting down the dog and stuff. And so the first verse talked about putting the dog down and having to bring it home, and the kids run out, and they say their goodbye for the last time, and then off to the vet, and the dog goes. And that's how the whole idea of it started. And we finished the song, and a lot of the song was already as it was. The chorus was right. All of the above was pretty much there, but we rewrote the first half of the song, and because it felt a little ingenuine to me to put that on my debut record, to just have become a dad and all of the above, and that wasn't necessarily my story at the front part. And so we went back in right before we recorded and rewrote it, and that's when we wrote the version that's out now. And it's to a T, really, the story of my wife finding out she was pregnant. And we wanted kids, but we weren't anticipating them coming as soon as he did.
Yes.
And just, the kind of the whiplash a little bit that comes along with that, of just finding it out. And then what do you do? And just the emotion of it. And so that's really where the song came from. Is it started off as, like, I feel like a pretty typical way of writing a song, of like, here's an idea. Let's make it a country song. And here's this great story. And our story was intertwined in it slightly. But then, like I said, we went back in there and really dug in and got our story really through the bones of it. And I'm so thankful that we did, because, again, I don't get to talk about the song a lot, because playing at a live show, you don't get to play songs like that a whole lot because it's slow and acoustic and everything. But the people that I know that it has touched and I've heard stories from has just been incredible. And so I'm thankful that people have reacted to it the way that they have, and that it's always there. And that, again, my wife and Preston are both on the song. It's just the three of us. And that's so special. And I recorded him saying that on my voice memo in the pediatrician's office. He was there for a checkup or something.
Really?
And he was being so sweet. And so I was like, oh man, I'm just going to record it. And so I put the phone up and recorded him. And then that's what's on the track. And he got a union check in the mail for being on it, which is hilarious. Got his first union check, which
awesome.
We kept, which
I've
put it in his 529 account, and maybe it'll send him a very small fraction of college one day.
That's awesome.
But yeah, man. So that's Dad now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, if you're playing that song live, I could see how that could be. It's a very sweet moment for the entire song, but to work it into a set list whenever most of your songs are like feel good vibes, hanging out outside, to suddenly be like, by the way, I'm going to do a very personal, emotional song.
Yes, there's a time and a place. I've definitely played it, but it's typically at like a writer's round, or if somebody specifically is like, hey, I really want to hear the song. Then
someone has shouted it at you for like 20 minutes. And you're like, all right, man.
You're like playing in the bar. You're just playing these big songs all night. And then all of a sudden, you're just going to play this one. But yeah, awesome. It's fun.
That's cool. Well, in respect of time, I'll start wrapping down the episode.
Awesome.
So how we end all of our episodes is we ask every guest the same 5 questions. It's not rapid fire, so you'll have a chance to think about it. This one, we'll see how you answer, because you might have to be strategic about it in case you have a second kid. For Preston, did you have any backup names? Like, did you have any names that you almost named him?
No.
None?
No. We knew, honestly, before we even were pregnant, we knew that was his name. Preston was my great-grandfather's name. And I just always loved it. I never met him. He passed away when my grandpa was a kid. But my name is William Alex Hall, and his name was William Preston. And so I just always loved it. And my wife loved it. And so we went with that. And then English is his middle name.
Okay.
And English is her dad's name. And it's like a long family name for my wife's family. That's too. Really so they're both family names. So before we even were pregnant, we knew the name. We did have like an alternate for a girl, but we got a boy. So yeah,
there you go. Nice. Next question: do you have a favorite TV dad?
Ooh, yes, absolutely, I do. Jack Pearson from This Is Us.
Oh, nice.
Yes. I think that's one of my favorite shows of all time. And I think that I've actually like in meetings had conversations about him, because I see myself so much in that character, like his struggles that he had and all the above. I have the same ones, and just, I see myself a lot in him. And so he's my favorite TV dad, because I just feel like I really connect with him. What about you?
Oh, I mean, whenever I think of TV dad, like, because there's 2 categories. There's the category of who did I grow up as seeing as a TV dad.
That's fair. That just popped into my head right before you said that, actually.
And that was definitely Homer Simpson. Was like TV dad to me is like Homer Simpson.
Mine's
like
Danny Tanner.
Danny Tanner or Carl Winslow, the Family Matters, or the 2, or Uncle Phil.
Man. Uncle Phil.
For one that I would actually want to aspire to be, I mean, I'm a stay-at-home dad and I have 2 dauters. So Bandit from Bluey is who I gravitate towards.
Oh yeah,
on a regular basis.
Honestly, that's a good one. I didn't even think about an animation.
I know, man.
TV dad. That's
Well, that might say more about my TV viewing habits than anything.
Hey, man. Well, This Is Us was prior to having a baby, so or until he was old enough to watch TV. Really, so
Well, I mean, like, also, if you watch a lot of This Is Us, like, do you enjoy crying on a regular basis? Because
man, I'm not even kidding. I would be crying, and my wife would not even be crying. Like, she would be full dry. And I would be full
just weeping. Just like, I'm not even trying to cry. Like, I just look and I'm like, why is it raining just on my face?
I don't know why, but like sometimes I need something to, like, I'm fine with crying. Crying doesn't bother me. I'm an emotional person.
Sure.
And like a lot. I definitely, my wife would agree. I cry more than she does.
Yeah.
But sentimentally at least.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeah, I'm all about a good cry. I'm here for it. Bring it on.
Well, I mean, like that in Parenthood, like it would get to like the final 10 minutes of the episode, and then you would hear like the obscure indie rock songs start to come on with like the slow pacing, and you're just like, do I just turn the TV off? Like, what do I like? Man, do I hide from this emotion, or do I lean in?
They really did kill it with the tears on that show. Yeah. They knew what they were doing.
They did.
They did. But yeah, that's funny.
Anyway, next question. Do you have a least favorite kids show? Like whenever Preston watches it, you're almost like, can I just leave the room until this is over? Because it annoys you so much.
I don't even know why he likes this or where he found it. But Nightmare Before Christmas.
What?
He loves it.
That is so random.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
Like I truly don't like it. And there's times I'll just be like, Jack's not on right now. Because he doesn't know what it's called. He just says, watch Jack.
Jack's sleeping.
He's sleeping, and I'm like, he's not home right now. And I don't know where it came from. I truly have no idea where.
That's very obscure.
Because he was like, I want to watch Jack, and I was like, I don't know what that is. And then finally we found it, like we passed it, and he was like, that's it. And so he loves it. So I would say, which that's a movie, so I don't know if it counts.
No, it works. It works. But TV, like something your kid watches a lot, where like they are like, I want to watch Jack, and you look at your kid and you're like, yeah, actually, my TV's broken. The TV's on right now. Sorry, it's only it's not broken if soccer's on.
Melon, right? Yeah, exactly. I thought for sure Coco Melon or Miss Rachel was going to be the thing that I would resent for the rest of my life, but it is Nightmare Before Christmas. Like it's that 100%. I'd take Coco Melon any day of the week, over that. Yeah,
it's just that like Nightmare Before Christmas is such an extremely quirky early '90s like.
I know.
That like
he even loves watching the old like Mickey Mouses and stuff. Like he was watching one from like the it was like old cartoons the other day, and he loves it.
You should introduce him into a Goofy movie, like the 1994, 95, where they go. Yeah. So that one, my daughter's connected to a lot more than I thought they would, and then you can listen to all the Powerline songs. So there you go.
See, that's awesome. He definitely loves the older stuff, man. Like he which is not that old, I guess, anymore, but like he loves the old Cars movies, which I loved I was a little bit older, I guess, but I loved the first one.
Yep.
So he loves the older stuff, which is funny, which I loved like Elvis and all of this old music when I was a kid. So like maybe he gets it from me and just likes the old movies. I don't know.
Yes. But, I'm going to ask you one production question, and I probably won't let it stay in the episode. Do you intentionally mix and record your vocals to have the more 50s style? I feel like you've got like the warmth and all the reverb that feels very similar to like RCA Studio B and all that stuff.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. Yes, we do. I definitely intend on making my music. I always say like I want to make classic records that fits in the modern world. Like that's just what I want to do, because that's what my heroes are all, older for the most part.
Yeah.
But we use a vintage, it's a Telefunken 251 microphone. That it's, I don't own it, where we record, but he has it, it's his. But we record on that. So the mic itself is vintage.
Cool.
And then, we always do like some slap back and use the verbs and stuff that are like at the Capitol chambers and all that. So we do, and yes, to answer your long story short, yes.
Hey, you're okay. I was like, is this a ribbon microphone? It might be a ribbon microphone. And then I was like, Devin, you were caring too much.
Yep. It's a vintage, very clean, perfect condition, Telefunken 251. Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
So that's where the warmth comes from too, because those mics are just like,
oh
man, butter.
I interned at Castle Recording Studio down in Franklin,
sick.
A decade ago, and they had 3 or 4 ribbon microphones, and I just remember anytime plugging them in, being terrified that I was going to be the one who broke it, because they're such delicate microphones that I'd be okay, man. I have phantom power turned off, right? Yeah, like it's going to cost $5,000 to repair it for like a $20,000 microphone. So anyway. There's a very nerdy side tangent.
Oh, man. I love that stuff.
Next question. You got 2 more. What's your favorite kid's toy? Like whenever Preston plays with it, you actually enjoy playing with it also?
Man, he's funny with toys. I love playing with cars. I think it's just fun. I was very excited for him to get into the car phase. He loves monster trucks and things right now. So like, we're in that, so that's fun. But he loves music so much. Like he's got his own full-size drum kit, which is insane. It was an accident. And he had a little toy drum, and he ended up destroying it because he played it so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he loves it. So like every day, at least once in the morning and once a night, he plays his drums every day. So like, that's just really fun because he's like, Dad, get a guitar. And so like, I'll go get a guitar, he'll jam on the drums. And so we're having a jam session at 2.5 already. And
that's
so
awesome.
that's not
cool.
a kid's
that
toy.
Works.
So
no,
that's
but that
like
works.
that's like
cool.
a side one, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. Moment of your kid's life you're most excited to be a part of?
Ooh. Oh man, I don't know that I just like got like chills. I don't think I've thought about that yet, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel weird saying it because I don't want to rush it at all. Time is flying way too fast, as I'm sure you also know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm eager for the day that he is hopefully fortunate enough to find somebody that he will marry,
mm-hmm.
and to see that happen. I think because outside of being a parent, and I know it's cliche or whatever, but like getting married and just getting to experience life with my wife is the greatest joy I think of my life outside of being a dad. I mean, and it's the first time in my life ever that anything had been more meaningful than music to me, I think. And so I just know how special that is because I know how special our relationship is and all of that. So I think that is what I am most eager and excited for is for him hopefully to have the same fortune that I have had and seeing that.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. You, it's the hope that you get to watch your kid find out who they're going to walk through life with and watch that entire journey. And it's just special.
Like that literally weirdly, it makes me want to cry right now just thinking about it.
It's because it is because you know your kid is awesome. And it's almost like the ability to hope that like someone else sees how cool your kid is and then they can both grow together and like become who they want to be a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, man. It's I don't know that life truly even starts happening until then. Like I feel like it's all just a preparation for it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, like getting married at 25, I'm like, what was I doing for the first 25 years before this?
Yeah,
moment?
It's crazy. Yeah, I was let's see, 20. Yeah, I was 20 right there with you. I was like 26 I think when I got married. So it was same time. Yeah, man, it's wild, but I'd say that's probably it. If I really, I guess, you know, we're both excited for him to like become a big brother and all that.
Sure,
and that's gonna be great. But that's gonna be a special moment, I think, getting to see that.
Definitely. Here's the time where we always give people an opportunity to do some self promotion. If we want to like follow you on Instagram, what's your Instagram handle? I know we can find your music on Spotify. Promote yourself.
Yeah. All social media is at Music by Alex Hall. It make it easy for everybody. And then my record Side Effects of the Heart is out now. If you dig good music, I think you'd like the record, so go listen to it.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, Alex, thanks for spending my child's nap time with me on a call.
Thanks for having me, man.
And I appreciate it.
It was a blast. Thank you.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks again for listening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at the Nashville Dads and to subscribe to us on Apple and Spotify podcast. We record at New Light Podcast Studio and episodes are produced by me, Devin.